Teaching isn't something that is a profession. Teaching isn't something that a person maybe does or doesn't do. Any person who is a bought-in, observant Jew who wants to fulfill the mitzvah of learning Torah has to teach. The mitzvah is not to just learn. The mitzvah is to learn and to teach. That's part and parcel of the mitzvah. We gave some examples of that, and we also spoke about different examples in Tanakh of two avenues that a person could take in his quest for spirituality. That a person could become a hermit, could focus on his own growth, his own learning, his own tefillah, his own development of his midos, and he get very high spiritual places. Or he could be involved with, of course, also learning and working on himself, etc., but also advancing himself forward to other people. Which path is better? And we went through some examples, had some more in the sheets, but it was clear as day that the second is the preferred method, the method that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us, and that is that you can even get to higher spirituality through that, even though sometimes you have to jump levels, right? Because you couldn't get there on your own because you didn't spend the right amount of time on it or the discipline. But through that focus, you're able to advance as well. Okay, so today I want to focus on that a little more. Again, we've I think 4 classes. The first 2 I wanted to speak more about the hashkafa involved in being mashpia. In the second 2 classes, we'll try to get very practical about how you deal with people and how that works. Okay. So that's fine. So we said that the chiyuv of Talmud Torah is to teach as well. The question is why? Well, why does it have to be like that? What do we learn from the fact that that's the way the mitzvah is? Why couldn't it be 2 separate mitzvahs? The mitzvah to learn, there's another mitzvah to teach. Both are good. Both are independent. I could check my box off by learning, and I could check my box off of teaching. Why is it that the mitzvah itself, what does it teach us? What does the mitzvah tell us about itself from the fact that it's combined as one? Okay, so we find another very interesting, expression of this in the 48 ways, the Memches Kinyani Torah, where if you go through the 48 ways, and you read it, if you read the English book, so each one is very powerful and transformative, right? But if you take a step back for a second and you remember what they are, there are 48 ways to acquire knowledge. So if you start looking at each one individually, some of them make absolutely no sense. I mean, they're very nice for a self-help development part. What does the world have to do with acquiring knowledge? For example, way number 30, right? Kinyan Lamed is ahuv. You have to be loved by people. What does that have to do with you have to be loved by people to acquire knowledge? Just learn. That's how you acquire knowledge. Or number, what do we have over here? 31, okay? Ohev esabrios, you have to love people. Maybe it's better not to love people. If you wouldn't love people and they wouldn't love you, everyone would leave you alone. You just sit and learn all day long. I would have thought that's the best way to acquire knowledge. Number 38, nosei ba'olim chavero. You have to carry the pain of other people. If you really carry the pain of other people, the burden of other people, you lose sleep at night. It's you're busy with them, helping them, etc. You don't really learn more. You actually learn less. Okay. Way number 44, Mem Daled. Halom Rabbanas Lalamed. You have to learn with the understanding that whatever you're going to learn, you're going to go ahead and teach. Okay. That's also interesting. Okay. You go through some of these. They just don't fit for some reason. They don't explain why that helps you get better knowledge. The Maharal is bothered by this, and if you look at the Maharal in his Perush and Pirkei Avos, Derech Chaim, every single one of these things he explains it. And he says, and as I explained before, and he says a very important idea, and that is that the Torah was not given to individuals. The Torah was given to all of Klal Yisrael, as a klal, as a group. It wasn't given to a bunch of 600,000, whatever number you want to give. 600,000 people happen to be there. Each one, Rossman got the Torah, this person got the Torah, that person, outside it was. We got the Torah. Klal Yisrael got the Torah. And the only way Says the Mara, that you are able to obtain Torah knowledge is if you are part of the klal. If you are part of the group, then you could access Torah. Torah is not like every other subject where sitting in the corner in a library with your book with the quiet will allow you to get more knowledge. It's not enough. If you are specific on your own, you actually will not get to Torah. Last week we spoke about, what's the preferred method of spending my day? Should I just hang out in the corner, or should I be involved with other people? Okay, we said be involved with other people. Now we're saying even more than that. We're saying that if you hang out in a corner, you actually will not be able to acquire the Torah. Because Torah is something that's a spiritual form of chachma, of knowledge. It's not like history and science and economics, etc. And therefore, the only way to obtain it is you have to go through the rules. One of the rules is the Torah was given to all of Klal Yisrael. So the question is, am I part of Klal Yisrael? If people like me is not enough. Ahuv, they love me. I love people. When someone has pain, when they're going through difficulties, I lose sleep over it. So when I lose sleep, what's that show? It shows that I'm not an individual. I'm part of a klal. Some people ask the question, are you an individual? Or are you, what's the other alternative? Part of a group. So the answer is not both. It's only part of a group. Okay, you might be an individual part of the group. But the answer is I'm part of the group. That's who we're supposed to be. So therefore, without these conditions, part of the 48 ways, you actually cannot obtain Torah. So you'll get a little bit, you will not be able to get there. So that's what the Maharal says. Okay? I'm going to take it one step deeper. I'm learning this with you. Okay? So if you ever find a source to this, I beg you to send it my way. I've not been able to find it a source. Okay? I heard this once. I'm not even going to say in the name of who, because until I find it inside, I'm not. But here's the idea. It's a fascinating idea. And why did Hashem give the Torah over to the klal and not to individuals? So the Maharal's explanation is because Torah is not something that the human mind can actually ever grasp. So therefore, the unit of Klal Yisrael is above the natural order of the world. Klal Yisrael doesn't make sense, right? The fact that we still exist, even after every single empire that were way stronger than us and bigger and better than us are gone, and we're still going. We're like this entity that is supernatural. Okay, so only if you connect to this supernatural entity are you capable of hitting Torah, which is a supernatural wisdom. That's what the Maharal says. Okay, if you want to be an individual and you want to act like a regular human being, okay, it's fine. But Torah is something way above that, so you'll never be able to get it. Okay, that's what the Maharal explains. But the other idea I heard was something a little bit different. And that is, the idea of Ma'amad Har Sinai was that the Torah was given, when the Torah was given, what happened was, it wasn't even given to a unit, it wasn't even given to people. It was an infusion into the world of Torah. Okay, meaning the world existed, but there wasn't Torah in the world. And all of a sudden Hashem injects Torah into the world. Okay, it happens to be Klal Yisrael are the ones who got it. What am I saying? So for example, there's a halacha, and we're not going to do this now, but if you learn through some of the halachos of Talmud Torah, the way we learn Torah is supposed to be the way it was given at Har Sinai. Supposed to be tahor when you learn Torah. You're supposed to learn with like a fervor. There's like a certain, just like it was given to Ema, Vizeh, whatever. The people were trembling when they got to Torah. So too, when you're supposed to learn Torah, you're not supposed to be chilled out with your legs hanging up. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be like a certain seriousness when we're learning Torah. Exactly what was given at Har Sinai. There are halachos based on that. Going to the mikvah, whatever. Different halachos, not for now. Well, why is that? Because every time a person learns Torah, they are actually continuing the giving of the Torah. Why? Because right now I didn't know something, right? And now I learn it. So what did I just do? I brought Torah into the world. That Torah wasn't there, or wasn't as much here, and now I brought it in. I say a chiddush. What's this whole idea of people saying chidushim? Why is that an important thing? Because I'm trying to bring out the Torah into this world. I'm infusing the Torah into this world. I'm actually acting like Hashem. Excuse me. Which we'll get to in a minute, acting like Hashem. But we're bringing Torah into the world. So for example, it's very interesting. Someone who supports learning Torah, okay, whether it's a spouse that supports their children or their husband learning Torah, let's say, or forget that for a second. You make a donation and you support someone that learns Torah. Because of your donation, this person gets to go to school, this person gets to learn, whatever it is. So if I buy someone tefillin, it's a beautiful thing. I got a mitzvah. I donated, I give tzedakah to a poor person, I bought him food. It's tzedakah. When you give someone money to learn Torah, something else happens. You actually get the schar as if you learned the Torah. Wasn't anything that and just giving, I gave tzedakah. The guy needed some money, I gave him tzedakah. No. It's as if you learned the Torah, but you didn't. It's like a cute thing, like you didn't. So how does that work? I gave money, the guy learned Torah. I did not learn any Torah. So the explanation I was given was because what really happens when someone learns Torah? What's really happening is they're bringing more Torah into this world. Right? They're acting like Har Sinai, giving over Torah. We mentioned last week the Rambam's Lashon, every time he said to learn Torah, what was his Lashon? L'lamid atzmo, teach yourself. It's all about teaching. Even when you're learning, you're teaching yourself. You're bringing more Torah into this world. So if I support someone learning Torah, I'm doing the exact same thing as him. I brought more Torah into this world. So therefore, it's the exact same mitzvah. You brought the Torah into the world by learning it. I brought the Torah into the world by supporting it. But we both came to the same outcome. There is more Torah now in the world because of me. Okay, I needed you and you needed me, but we both got to the goal together to bring more Torah into the world. So that is what learning Torah is. It's bringing more Torah into the world. If that's the case, then we for sure understand why teaching is important. Because the goal is not to you have more information. The goal is by you having more information, there's more Torah in the world. Okay, if that's the goal, then I should learn and I should teach. Because the goal is to get more Torah in the world. Why would you only bring it into yourself? Why does it make any sense? There's no difference in learning and teaching. And that's why the Rambam kept it as one mitzvah. Because it is the exact same thing. It's getting more Torah into the world. How do you do it? Put some into your brain and put some into other people's brains. Okay?
That's the part we don't know that source.
What?
We don't know if that's...
I haven't seen yet where that idea is that the point of Torah was just to infuse... The point of Har Sinai was just to infuse Torah into the world. I haven't seen that. I'm close. I think I have a source in the past. I'm not there yet. But
the second part.
That part's all true. Everything I said was true. Well, I think this is right. I'm scared to say things without seeing it inside. Okay. But if you like this idea, go with it. Because it makes sense, right? And okay, but that's clear then. Okay, again, the Maral says that the Menchas Kinani Torah have things that have to do with other people. The reason is because I need to be part of the klal. If I'm not part of the klal, I will never get Torah. Okay? So I have to be part of the klal. Part of that is, therefore, why should I just teach myself? Of course I should teach everyone else. But I'm part of the klal. I'm so happy that you made a siyum. I'm so happy that you're learning something. Why would I hold a vort that I have to myself? Like, I want to keep it in my back pocket. So that, why would you do that? Let everyone have it. It's our Torah. It's not my Torah. It's our Torah. That's Pshat 1. Pshat 2 is that it's not just me and you. It's the world should have Torah. So how do I do that? I learn and I teach. It's just a deeper expression of the first idea. Okay, but either way, you see from here, it's not my Torah. It's a Torah that belongs to everyone else. Okay. So there's an obligation to teach, as we spoke about last week. 2, we see that it's not our individual Torah, it's everyone's Torah, and therefore we should be teaching to other people. That's clear. Okay. 3, when a person teaches Torah, he becomes similar to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, we all want to be like Hashem. That's our goal in life. The Torah is a vehicle to get close to Hashem, but our goal is to have dveikus to Hashem. We have to act like Him. That's our goal. We want nothing less. We have very big aspirations for ourselves. We want to be like God. When they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? God. That's it. Okay, it's very simple. Okay. So we want to be like Hashem. That's what we try to perfect ourselves, to be like Hashem. Okay. So Hashem teaches Torah. So I have to teach Torah, so I want to be like Hashem. How do I know that Hashem teaches Torah? What's the most obvious source to it? What? You wrote the Torah. But how do I know? We say it in davening. Okay. Birchas Torah. In Birchas Torah every morning we say Hashem is melamed Torah la'amu Yisrael. Baruch Hashem melamed Torah la'amu Yisrael. We say it every day. In our Birchas Torah we stress the fact that Hashem teaches Torah. We want to be like that. So every morning when we say Birchas Torah, we should have in mind Hashem is like that, and I want to be like that. So every course thing we should do it. Okay. Where do we see that Hashem is Melamed Torah? Okay, there's an amazing Rambam. This should be like plastered on people's walls. Okay? You have to look up inside. It's in Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Vav, Halacha Hey. Okay? Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Vav, Halacha Hey. The Rambam says as follows. He quotes a pasuk. He says, and this is very strange, because the Rambam, we know, the Rambam is a halacha book. It tells you what to do, what not to do. He doesn't give so much philosophy. Very rare, okay? But here he goes out of his norm, and he says as follows. He says, sorry. Umazet Sha'amar David. It's a pasuk in Tehillim, Perek Chav Ches, Psukim Ches through Tes. So Chav Ches, Ches through Tes. Tov v'yasher Hashem. Hashem is good, and He's straight. Al kain yoreh chatayim badarech. He's yoreh, like a moreh. He's a teacher. He teaches the people who sin the way. Yajich anavim b'mishpat v'lamed anavim darko. He shows the people that went off the derech. He shows them the way. Okay, so the Rambam is bothered. Where does Hashem do that? Where does Hashem show us the way? And the Rambam says two different answers to this. Okay, one, this is an amazing thing. I don't know why it's not the most world famous Rambam.
Is this in the source thing?
I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure it's in there. Is it? I couldn't find my source sheet. I gave you my last one for that. You have to and then okay. I'm not sure it's there. Okay, so you'll look it up inside. I'm sorry. The Rambam says as follows: two places where we see that Hashem is showing us the way. First, Zeh sheshalach neviim. Hashem gives us neviim and teachers. Right? We think it's an amazing thing. I remember when I learned this Rambam the first time, I had a whole different appreciation for my Rebbeim. That why did this Rebbe end up in my life? Like, why didn't I have a different Rebbe? Why didn't I go to a different yeshiva or a different person to inspire me, or a different sefer that I open up? Right? All that is hashkafa pratis. Right? We all land somewhere. Right? We have a sefer that like we really like, or whatever it is that someone wrote. So obviously, when that person wrote that book, he didn't know who I was. He still might not know who I am. But there was a reason that somehow I picked up that book. Right? For some reason I heard that inspirational speech. Right? Hashem puts people into our lives. Back in the day it was the Navi. Specifically to show us the right way. And for each and every one of us, because everyone's different, we need someone different to be able to tell us what we need. So every time you get a book, you're like, wow, I got a great book, right? And you recommend it to your friend and he doesn't like it as much, right? Why is that? It's Pasha, because Hashem needed that book for you. It wasn't necessarily for everyone, right? So when you read a book, and it's amazing when you hear a speech and like, wow, that really hit me, that person is shliach of Hashem. Hashem put that person in your life in order to show us the right way, to inspire us in the area that we needed. That's answer number one. So where does Hashem teach us? Hashem, I'm listening to you. Where I haven't heard you. The answer is that you heard from someone else, a Rebbe or a Sefer that showed you something, that taught you the way. That came from Hashem. We have to have Amunah B'tachon that came from Hashem. Okay, that's one. The second thing he says is that Hashem put inside ourselves the ability to be able to learn. That also is a way of Hashem teaching us. The fact that Hashem gave us a functional brain that allows us to learn, right? And some of us understand things differently than others. That's Hashem putting inside us the ability to learn. So he's teaching us, right? Him giving us the tools to learn is that's what a teacher's supposed to be. We'll get there in the second half of these classes, that the goal of a teacher is not to give over information. The goal of a teacher is to give the ability for the kids or the student, whoever it is, to be able to learn on his own. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu does that. Hashem gives us those kelim to be able to learn. So when all of a sudden I'm sitting in front of a Gemara and all of a sudden I understand something, right? What am I supposed to feel? Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me the ability to learn. Maybe it was the right chavusa that allowed me to learn. Again, it could be the Rebbe. But Hashem gives me either people, svarim, etc., external things, or just the internal capabilities, the wiring that allows me to go ahead and learn. So that's why Hashem is Malami Torah. We say that in davening all the time. And therefore, if we want to be like Hashem, we have to teach. If we're not teaching, we aren't like Hashem. Okay. The third area why a person has to teach is recorded in a sefer. Okay, I have a link. This is a very rare sefer. I have a link from Hebrew Books. If anyone wants it, I could share it with you. Where is it? Second, sorry. Okay, it was an Italian Rav in the 1500s. Here we go. Yeah, his name was Rosaria Figo, Pei Yud Gimel Vav. Okay, he lived from 1579 to 1647. And he has a sefer called Bina Le'itim. He asks a very interesting question over there. He says, why did Hashem send down the neshama into this world? Just to go back up after however many years, 120 years. What was the point of the whole thing? Okay, we might know some questions based on our own explorations. But he says a fascinating thing. He says, the neshama, when it was up by Hashem, is not able to exactly be its best self. Why not? Because the neshama by Hashem is receiving all the kedusha, the rays of holiness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But in that place, he's passive. The neshama is receiving. However, he doesn't have the ability to give like Hashem. And therefore, the neshama is put into this world for one purpose and one purpose only. And that is to give to others. And based on that, he's able to earn a different level. But the reason he's in this world is because in this world, he could do something better than he was capable of doing in the previous world. Previous world, before he's born, he's just able to accept and receive. In this world, he's able to be proactive and give. And that is what the neshama is needed for in this world. Yeah, so it's a dark, scary world. But here he can do something that he could not do beforehand. That's what he writes. He gives a whole beautiful explanation of this. The Nefesh HaChaim, Reb Volozhiner, in introduction, is written by his son, Reb Volozhiner. He says that his father, Reb Volozhiner, used to say one thing and one thing only to his kids. It's an amazing thing. Because you read the Nefesh HaChaim, it's woo! It's like all the, I think it's the most important sefer in the world, but I've said it many times, you've heard me already say that, but it's high level stuff. But in the introduction, he writes, our father used to always tell us that the only point of living is leho'il la'achrini, to elevate other people. That was Reb Volozhiner's mantra. Amazing thing. This is what Rosario Pinto is saying, Pigo is saying, that is the goal of the neshama in this world, is to uplift other people. Okay, so we have an understanding that it's the chiyuv of a person, one of the 613 mitzvos. If you want to be an observant Jew and fulfill all 613, you have to teach. Okay, that's one. We have the idea that it's better than just totally secluding yourself into the corner. Moshe and Noach, Avram and Lot, Avram and Chanoch. Okay, that was last week. Then we have more, I guess, inspirational reasons that we should do it. One is that's not our Torah anyway. It's the Torah of Klal Yisrael, so therefore you should go ahead and teach it. Maybe it's the Torah of the world, and therefore we should continue to infuse the world with Torah, right? That's number two. Then we have this idea that it's the neshama, right? The neshama's goal, the tafkid of the neshama is to go ahead and be mo for achrini, right? And we said that we want to be like Hashem. Okay, great. So after that, we're done. Like we don't nothing more to talk about. Except we have a problem. What's our problem? Our problem is that we're human beings and we all have a Yetzer Hara. So our Yetzer Hara knows that this is like the highest thing in the whole wide world, to go ahead and teach Torah and spread Torah. So Yetzer Hara is going to do everything possible to make sure that we don't do that. So for example, I need to work on myself. If I spend all my time, how am I ever going to finish anything? Okay, so now I'm going to try, in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to only address the Yetzer Hara. Okay, so it's not relevant for anyone in this room. It's for when you have to be mechazik other people that that the first part wasn't enough for them, so this is what you're going to tell them. Okay? And the last one is like the most selfish one possible. But look, just in case there are people out there that need this, I'm going to give you the tools. And if you're ever down and having trouble, it's good to pull these one out. Okay, here we go. Number one, the Gemara says in Maseches Rosh Hashanah. Okay, we all know throughout Shas we have machlokas in between Abaye and Rava. Okay, we always paskin like Rava, except for Yal Kagan. Okay, we're all learning in the Metzias now. But I'll show you. There's another place we paskin like Abaye. Believe it or not. What happened to that? Why isn't that included? I'm not sure. Okay, but here's another time we pass like Abaye. What's that? This is brought down by the Chavetz Chaim, the Chavetz Chaim Sefer Avas Chesed, Chela Gimel, the 8th parak. Okay, he says as follows. The Chavetz Chaim is coming to tell you that it's not enough. There's certain people that the way they do their chesed is they give money, they make donations. So that's not enough. If you want to be a real Baal Chesed, you have to use your body. It's not enough to just donate to the Bikur Cholim organization. You have to go and visit sick people. Okay? You give a lot of money, and you have not fulfilled your obligation to Chesed. You have to do it with your guf. Okay. So he brings down the following story in Maseches Rosh Hashanah, Yud Ches Amud Aleph, Chai. Okay? Rava and Abaye. But Rava was Osik in Torah, and he lived for 40 years. Abaye was Osek in Torah and Gemilas Chasadim, and he lived for 60 years. Okay, so the Chavetz Chaim asks the following question. So it doesn't make any sense. Hold on, slow down. So we're talking about Abaye and Rava here, we're like two very good people. Rava taught Torah all the time, right? So that's a chesed. So what does it mean that Rava was Osek in Torah 40 years, and then he died? Abaye, Torah and Chesed, 60 years. Okay, and now let's just analyze this for a minute. So we'll say that Rava taught Torah, but Abaye also visited the sick. But he should have been learning. Why did he visit? Because halacha. Halacha is that if a Chesed can only be done by you, you have to stop learning, right? You have to go ahead and do the Chesed yourself. Well, Rava didn't know that. That's a Gemara. So, Rav also, I'm sure, did that. It's like, what's going on over here? It sounds like Rav was like not from, what happened over here? So Chavetz Chaim has a brilliant explanation. He says it was a gray area. It was a gray area that wasn't so clear as to should you stop learning or not. What was the gray area? What happens, and I'm sure everyone has experienced this at some point, at least once or twice, and you're for sure going to experience a lot as your life continues, okay? There's a chesed that can be done by someone else. Okay? The person will have a visitor in the hospital. And the person in the hospital, whether you're to help him, get him what he eats, the food that he needs, move around in his bed, you'll help him out. So I can't stop learning them because this mitzvah, this chesed, can be done by someone else. However, if I show up, I'll be able to add a little bit more. When they see me, again, the chesed is going to get done anyway. But if it's done by me, it'll be a little more. It'll be, the person will be a little happier. It's like the big Rosh Yeshiva that comes to the wedding. The guy's going to dance anyway. The chassid is going to be very happy and he's going to walk home happy, right? Does that big Rosh Yeshiva have to come to the wedding? It's a waste of time. Let him prepare a shir, let him do whatever he's doing. Like, there are other chassids that no one else can do but him. So, should he go to the wedding or should he not? On one hand, the chesed is going to happen anyway. On the other hand, he'll be elevated a different level of a chesed if he does it. So how do you view that? That's like a gray area, right? It could be done by someone else, but if you would do it, it'd be a little better. Which way should you go? So this was a machlokas of Abaye and Rava. Of course Rava did Bikur Cholim. Of course Rava was counseling people and helping them through things that only he could help them through. But what would happen when it was like something that So Rava said, no, I'm just going to continue learning. Abaye said, no, I'm going to the wedding. So what happened? Abaye ended up living 20 years longer than Rava. Because the paskin, that Abaye was the one that was right. And more than that, says the Chavetz Chaim, during those extra 20 years, Abaye was able to catch up on all that learning that maybe he didn't get because he went to those weddings. So here's the yesod, okay, to the Yetzer Hara, number one. You think that because you're being involved in teaching other people that you're going to lose out. Answer, it's true. Right now, you're losing out. Right now, if you can have a conversation with that guy that was just sitting in the sugya all day long, he's going to blow you out of the water. You're going to feel like such an idiot. Okay? He's holding and you're not. True. But in the long haul, you will have as much, if not more. That's what the Gemara is paskening. There's a story, and let's take this a little deeper. There was a story that Reb Chaim Brim, we don't have time to talk about Reb Chaim Brim right now. I felt a very strong catch to Reb Chaim Brim. I was in the middle of a back and forth with him the week that he was nifter. I knew he was accused of Gadol Ador, he was a Talmud of the Chazon Ish, and he was also a Biyan Chassid. So he lived in two very, very different worlds, and he was mamish, an amazing tzaddik. You don't need my haskama. He's one of the Gadol Ador. Anyway, so there was a time that Reb Chaim Brim and somebody named Yeshua Landau, they were very busy for a long time helping a certain young girl, a little girl who was very sick, unfortunately. And at the end, after all their hard work, they were working really, really hard, Reb Chaim Brim and this other Rav, and the little girl passed away. So when they found out the news, they happened to have been in the house of the Chazon Ish, and like one of them made a remark like, oh, after all that time, like we could have been learning, like not in a negative way, but like maybe it wasn't worth all the effort that we put in. Okay? So the Chazon Ish, who anyone knows about the Chazon Ish, he had very little koach to do anything, so he was lying down in his bed. He got up, and he said, that's not the way, because the Torah is not like other forms of chachma. That other forms of chachma, based on how much you learn, that's how much you know. The Torah is a spiritual existence, and the bigger the lave of the person, that's the amount of Torah that gets in. So for the fact that you are working with your lave and you are caring about this girl, so more Torah is be able to get into your heart. You're not going to lose a single thing. That's what the Chazon Ish said to these Gedolim at the time. Okay, so that's number one. Number one is you're not going to lose. Number two, the Gemara says in Eruvin, on Daf Nun Daled, the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Mai diksiv lechayav karugas abosan. The pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, his cheeks right? Like a bed of spices. Arugas abosam is bed of spices. What does that mean? I think this is in the sheets. I think in Mesim Adam Atzmo Karuga Zu Shakol Dashimba. If you make yourself like a person, like a bed of spices that people trample on, they squash them. If you make yourself like that, ukebosem zeh shakol mitbasmen ba, or fragrance that everyone smells good because of it. So then talmudo mitkayim, your learning will stay. You'll remember what you learned. We all wish we could just remember everything we learned. If you make yourself like that, your learning will stay. Vimlav in talmudo miskayim. If not, you're going to lose your learning. So the Marsha explains over there, lechayav means cheeks, but it's written lamed chet yud vav, like the word chayav, like your life. So the Gemara is darshaning that if you make your life into one that people could trample on you, you have a certain humility, and it's not all about yourself, but rather people could use you and get information from you, and you act like a bosem, a spice, that you're spreading everything out to other people. Like the Meiri over there explains in the Gemara, he says, they're going to ask you questions. They're going to challenge you. You're going to have to look better at the sugya, and your learning is going to be better than ever. Okay, I always say, the best learning I ever had in my entire life, to this day, when I first came to Aish Torah, I was learning in the mirror very well, and I started teaching here, and I was teaching what I was learning in the mirror. So I came here, and I gave shir, and the guy asked me a gazillion questions. I went back to the mirror, I went to my Rebbe, asked him all the questions, had to work it out, had to write it over in serious ways. Those notes and that learning that I had then was the best learning I've ever had in my entire life. Can't even compare. That's this Gemara. This Gemara says that if you end up teaching people, the process of teaching is going to allow yourself to learn and hold your learning better. Okay. That's one. That's number two. Okay. 3. You'll be zocha ta'arichos yamim. Okay, the pasuk says in Mishlei Dal Chav Beis, ki chaim heim lemotzeihem l'chol b'saro marpei. They are life to him who finds them. Motzeihem, like a mitzia, like a mitzia, like a lost object. Healing for his whole body. So the Medrash says over there, Devarim Rabbah, it says ki chaim heim lemotzeihem. What's it mean? L'misha motziam lacherim. To the one who lets other people find the Torah. If you make other people find the Torah, that will heal your entire body. And there's a story about Rav Eliyahu Lapiyan. He was close to 80 years old, and they asked him to become the Mashpia in Zichron Yaakov. See? Worked out. Right after Shabbos in Zichron Yaakov. Okay. So Rav Eliyahu Lapiyan was asked to be the Mashpia in Zichron Yaakov. He was 80. He was retired. Okay? And he went, he didn't know should he take this or not. On one hand, if you want to be mashkiach, you got to really be involved with the guys. Like he's 80, he was over 80 years old. Like how good of a job could he do? So he went to the Chazon Ish, and he asked him, what should he do? And the Chazon Ish said to him, the pasuk says, we know this from davening, Od yinavun b'seiva, d'shenin v'ranin imiyu, right? Od yinavun b'seiva, that you're gonna, a person could be seva. Seva is like old, right? How do you guarantee yourself to become old? Lehagid ki yashar Hashem. You give over, you're magid, you tell over how great Hashem is. So he says that if Hashem is shomer the tzaddikim, that they should become deshenim v'radnim in order that they should yuchul lehagid ki yashar Hashem. He said if you give over Musar shmuzes to the Talmidim and you mechazik them, you will be able to stay, you'll live longer. He became the Mashkiach in Tufshin Yud Aleph, and 19 years later he passed away. 19 years he was able to live. So if you want to live a long life, teach Torah. Okay. Here's the last one for now. And this is the biggie, and you have to, things on the sheets. If you don't have the sheets, you have to look this one up, because this is the best to kill the Yetzer Hara in a big way. And that is as follows. It's a Chovos Halavavos in two places. Shar Bitachon Perek Daled, okay, and in Shar Avos Hashem Perek Vav. You must see this inside. Okay, now Art Scroll has the Shar Bitachon, so there's no excuses. You know, there's English for the other also. Okay, you have to look these up. They're a must. The Chovos Halavavos asks the following question. He says, how in the world is anyone ever going to get into Olam Haba? Doesn't make sense. You could literally be perfect. You did all your mitzvot, did everything you're supposed to do. Okay, maybe you made a mistake once in a while, so you did tshuva. Okay, you're perfect. Beautiful. At the end of the day, Hashem always has one up on you. Because every breath that we take, we owe more to Hashem. So there's nothing that we could do that makes it that like we deserve Olam Haba. That's what he asks. We're always in debt to Hashem and we're always behind. So he says as follows. Okay, this is Finance 101. If you ever want to make money, you can use this. And if you ever want to get into Olam Haba, you should use this as well. Okay? Says the Chovos Halavavos. He says the only way to get in is if you teach other people and you inspire other people, and then those people do mitzvos, you get schar for all of their mitzvos. And if those people teach other people, and those people teach other people, and they have children, and their children do mitzvos, you get reward for that whole chain reaction, right? It's like when you set up a system of money with these pyramids, right? Okay, you get this guy to do the money, and this guy does the sales, and that guy sells. And you're getting dividends on every single guy's sales. You're getting percentages. You make a lot of money. You're sitting there doing nothing. He says the same thing. If you are Mashpia on other people, and because of that, they do mitzvahs. Now, chas v'shalom is very important. It should never be that like people that you're teaching are your objects. Like, I need you because like you're my kid olam haba. That's terrible. You're the worst Rebbe ever, and you shouldn't teach them. But if you're not feeling it one day, like okay, maybe I won't get up in the morning to do this, or I won't make the extra effort to make a chavusa with someone that can eat it. Okay, so this is how you destroy your Yetzer Hara. I'm going to learn with him, and that is the way to get infinite levels and amounts of schar, because you're always getting all the ripple effects of all that schar forever. That's what Chovos Halavavos writes. So that's the one that knocks this Yetzer Hara into the coffin and Shammai Yisrael. And we don't need any of this stuff. Baruch Hashem, not us in this room, but other people do, so you can share this with them to inspire them. Okay, so this is Mitzvot Hashem. Next week we're going to start getting very practical about what our goal is when we're teaching people and how to do it. This part was just about more the hashkafa, why it's so important to do, and how to get the Yetzer Hara out when it's time to do it. Okay, shkaya.
Is it the same with Shnai Mikra? Does it work the same way?